Hi, I'm Erica. Welcome to Hack Your Health. On this channel, I explore different ways that people can empower themselves by improving their health. And of course, it's not to replace the advice of a doctor, and I'm not a doctor. It's to spread different ideas that are not necessarily covered by conventional medicine, but they can have a profound impact on an individual's health. And today I'm going to be talking about the effect of probiotics on anxiety and depression. So anxiety and depression affect maybe a third of the population or so, and I myself have experienced depression, and what made me interested in this topic is that I did notice when I started improving my diet and taking probiotics that I was less depressed. And the reason I started researching it was because I wanted to know if other people experienced that same thing, because it was an unexpected thing. And when I looked further into it, I found that the answer was yes. There have been quite a number of studies on the effects of probiotics and mental health, and they found that they're particularly helpful for anxiety, depression, and ruminating thoughts, which are when you think about the same thing again and again and again and you can't seem to release yourself from that mental pattern. They've also found that in university students, because a lot of these tests are on university students, right? They found that they had less self-blame. That is also part of depression. In one of the studies, it was 40% of people's symptoms improved. And in other ones, they didn't mention necessarily percentages, but they found that there was an overall positive effect. And there's also been some studies on rats. They gave them Bifidobacterium infantis, which is one of the first probiotics or bacteria that's on an infant, and that's why it's called infantis, and is usually the first probiotic that immune-compromised, such as Crohn's patients start taking, because it's very, very gentle probiotic. So even when they supplemented with that one strain, they noticed reduced depressive symptoms in rats, and they noticed that when they separated them from their mother, they showed less anxious and depressive symptoms when they were treated with that probiotic versus when the ones that weren't. And they've shown similar things in adult males at a university as well. They gave half of them probiotics and half of them did not get probiotics. And they all thought that they were getting probiotics. But when they exposed them at the end of the study, which was about 28 days, to things that would trigger sadness, the ones who had been taking the probiotics had less of those ruminating or repetitive thoughts. They got less caught up in the sadness and had less prolonged sadness as after they were exposed to that trigger, whereas the people who had not been taking the probiotics were more affected. So it shows that it can help reduce that emotional response that can contribute to depression. So there were a number of studies that showed along the same line. So it's pretty well supported that the patients who were taking the probiotics were having a better emotional response in general and reduced feelings of anxiety and depression when they were taking it than the controls who were not. So this all begs the question, why would improving your intestinal microflora affect your mood and your mental health? First of all, what scientists are now turning to more research on is the gut-brain axis. So there is this very strong connection between your brain and your gut. So you can see this working in the opposite direction when you're really, really stressed and anxious and you get a stomach ache or even diarrhea, or you throw up because you're so anxious, and even butterflies in your stomach. Like everyone has probably experienced this thing where your brain and your emotions, and in particular stress, affects your ability to digest. It's shown in studies that Psychological stress actually makes the intestines more permeable, which is basically like leaky gut syndrome, where instead of being a protective barrier, your intestines become more porous or have more holes in them, basically, so that toxins can get through them and into your bloodstream. And when toxins get through and into your bloodstream, it increases inflammation in the body and a whole host of other issues. The reason why they started to study whether probiotics could affect the brain is because they wanted to know if they could modify this in the opposite direction. They know that stress can reduce the ability of the intestines to function properly. So maybe by improving the intestines, you can also improve the impact on mental health. Probiotics strengthen the walls of the intestine, or they protect them. So they make it so less of those toxins are getting through and basically reduces the stress on the body. They also have shown in studies on rats again that the rats that took the probiotics had reduced stress hormones in their blood. And as we all know, stress is a contributing factor to anxiety and depression. So by reducing the problems in the intestines or improving the health there, you can actually reduce just the overall level of stress. Also, when you take probiotics that are actually alive, your intestines produce more tryptophan, and tryptophan is what your body uses to make serotonin. It increases the tryptophan and therefore increases the serotonin. Also, when you take probiotics, the levels of the main thing that breaks down tryptophan are reduced. So that actually acts in a similar manner to an antidepressant. So antidepressants generally are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So they basically prevent your body from reabsorbing serotonin so that it's more available in your bloodstream, and that basically raises your mood. So by increasing the tryptophan in your bloodstream and therefore your levels of serotonin and reducing the number of the things that break down the serotonin in your bloodstream, you're also raising your serotonin levels. So that is one of the main theories on why probiotics improve mood and reduce depression, is because they have this similar effect to antidepressants in how they raise the serotonin. So the really great thing about this is that when you take probiotics, they very rarely have side effects. And in fact, they have a lot of other advantages, such as reduced bloating and improved digestion. There's evidence that they could help with obesity and diabetes as well, which are often associated with imbalances in microflora. They can help with Crohn's disease and other digestive problems. So by taking this for a depression, you could potentially improve your health in other ways as well. Whereas with antidepressants, and I'm not encouraging anyone to go off of them, that's a different topic for you and your doctor. But with antidepressants, about 15 to 30% of people stop taking them due to the side effects. So if you're looking for a different way of addressing those problems, it could be a potential solution for you or part of your solution. It could be that you're going through a time of grief or loss. It could be that, there's underlying emotional issues that need to be addressed in a healthy way. But if you're having a chronic state of depression, it could be possible to help raise those serotonin levels by improving the microflora in your intestines as well. And that could be one part of your healing journey. If you've had an experience where you took probiotics and they made you feel better, please leave a comment below, because I'd be interested, and I'm sure other viewers would be interested to know how it goes if you try it. And I'll make a few recommendations about what kind of probiotics you might want to try. So if you have a more sensitive body, or you have any autoimmune diseases or anything like that, I would definitely start with the Bifidobacterium infantis. That's a super gentle probiotic, and it has been included in some of these studies. You can also get the bifidum kind of bacteria from fermented milk products. Fermented milk products are going to have these types of bacteria in them, and so is sauerkraut, raw sauerkraut. Kombucha, from what I could understand, had different strains in it that weren't included in any of these studies, but it is possible that they also improve mood, they just weren't included. So what most of these studies were conducted with are the kinds of bacteria that grow in fermented milk products. So I would give those your first try. Even if it's including some natural yogurt every morning and see how that helps you. That was what some of the studies was just adding yogurt. And other ones were adding specific strains. So you could try a multi-strain probiotic and just make sure that it includes those bifido types of bacteria, Bifidobacterium, and the Lactobacillus, or it's so hard for me to say, Lactobacillus. I'll put it in the description what the beginnings of these are. Those are the kinds that have been studied. So that's what I would recommend. So I hope that this can be helpful. I would definitely encourage you to incorporate probiotics as part of your healing of depression, because the results in these studies were good. And in my personal experience as well, when I started taking probiotics, I noticed a very noticeable improvement in my mood. So from personal experience, I would also recommend it. Make sure to get any help you need for depression. Talk to people if you're feeling really depressed and you might hurt yourself. Definitely tell someone or go to the hospital. Get the help that you need. And of course, healing from depression can be an ongoing journey. So taking these steps to take care of yourself is really, really important. This can help improve your serotonin, and keep trying until you find something that works for you, or a combination of things. And I wish you all the best on your healing journey. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, or if you've tried this and you noticed that it worked for you. And if you liked this video, please let me know by pushing like. And if you'd like to see more health-related videos, please subscribe to my channel. So thank you for watching, and all the best. Bye.